and they're young people. Here in Arizona, the story is much the same. The question is, where do we go from here? Talking about it this afternoon, Dr. Ernst von Schwarz with Southern California Hospital Institute, Heart Institute. Dr. von Schwarz, appreciate you joining us. How are you doing today? Dr. Schwarz, about the Delta variant. Okay, so we know that this is among the unvaccinated primarily. What about the vaccinated? What's the percentage of people who've been vaccinated who are getting the Delta variant?
It's a small number, John. So 97%, and that's nationwide now, of those infected are actually unvaccinated people. So the Delta variant, as you know, is highly transmissible. And the reason for that, it replicates very rapidly. It even is able to reduce the incubation period up to 2 days. And samples from studies from China have shown that they have a 1,000 times higher virus load in the upper respiratory tract compared to the original coronavirus. So that variant is very aggressive, highly transmissible, very contagious. And some people even believe, and I'm one of them, by the way, that sooner or later, everybody who's unvaccinated will get that virus. There's no question about it. It will infect all of those people who did not have gotten the vaccine.
Okay, so from here, we've got to try to get people vaccinated because those are the people primarily who are getting this. But what about people who have had COVID but then did not want to get the vaccine? That's got to be a large number. What about people who've had COVID, they got it naturally, they didn't get the vaccine? How susceptible are they to the Delta variant?
Well, the people who recovered from COVID are considered more or less immune because they have some degree of antibody production caused by the initial infection. We know for sure that a vaccine shot, even one of the 2 shots, in addition to overcoming the COVID infection, will increase those antibody levels. But it's not really widely recommended that someone who has had a corona infection and recovered from it and has antibodies does require the vaccine. So the vast majority, and if we look at geographically among the U.S., where do those people get the most of the infections? Are those areas, those pockets in the U.S. with low vaccination rates?
Dr. von Schwarz, you're dealing with this in California. There's a big call again for people to mask up. Is that a wise strategy considering the mask that most people wear, which is that blue mask? It's not, it's not the really good N95 mask. That's only 30% protection. I mean, that's not a great barrier. It may prevent spreading it, but it may not keep you from getting it.
You're right. It's not there's no absolute protection, but I can tell you from my own personal life, I'm wearing the mask from day one and I'm still wearing it even outside. That might be a little exaggerated, but right now with that 4th wave of coronavirus infections caused by the Delta variant, several institutions in California, UCLA, for example, the university systems, several cities, Pasadena and Long Beach, they have a new mask mandate for indoors, at least for public situations and rooms. And I think that's a wise thing to do because any mechanical barrier is better than no mechanical barrier. And some people wear even 2 of those simple masks or even the N95 mask. So, but anything which can prevent droplet inhalation can help somewhat. It's not 100% protection, but anything is better than nothing.
Okay, if you are vaccinated and you get the Delta variant, you're exposed to it and you actually contract it, how sick would you get if you've been vaccinated?
Well, these are the breakthrough cases, John, what you mentioned, and we all have seen them, and they are very, very few. That's less than 3% currently of all of the newly diagnosed cases. But there's no different with regard to the severity of the course of the disease. The vast majority of people still have a relatively mild course of the disease. But on the other hand, the new variants, the Delta, and there's another one now, the Lambda variant,
right,
which was detected in Texas, for example, they go hand in hand with a higher mortality rate than the original variants of coronavirus. So people who get sick and who get hospitalized might have a worse outcome than the ones at the beginning of the pandemic.
Dr. von Schwarz, you've been very generous with your time. I've got one more for you. This Delta variant and the Lambda variant that are out there, so far, the vaccine has proved to be effective against all these variants, even though there are some breakthrough cases.
As far as we know, the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine has shown beneficial effects and efficacy against the Delta variant, and some data from Moderna have shown the same thing. So at this point, yes, we do consider that the currently available vaccines in the U.S. are efficacious against these new variants.
But do you worry that that the virus will mutate and figure out a workaround?
Absolutely, of course. I mean, there's no question that the virus is going to mutate, and there will be new variations, but not every variation will be highly transmissible or will cause more severe disease as the current Delta variant. But we do expect that we might all need a booster shot very soon, maybe within the next 6 months or even on an annual basis in the future, or we might require adjustments in the vaccines based on newly developed variants.
Yeah, it could look like the flu vaccine, the seasonal flu vaccine down the line. Dr. von Schwarz, we appreciate your time. Thank you.